to you a little bit about fair trade. I'm presuming most of you are going to know what fair trade is, and quite a bit about creating new trade, which actually is what Hub is very much involved in. And that's a surprising thing for me, so it's going to be fun to talk about it today. Obviously, we're here to bring new sources of income to the lives of disadvantaged people, and also to good products to North Americans and Western Europeans, all of us, shall we say. So there's a lot of opportunity for social entrepreneurs, as I'm sure you're aware, and this is a smattering of products that you'll see in front of you that have all depended on creating new trades for ingredients that come from developing nations. They develop into unique products up here in Western markets, but they really help the people from the countries that they're coming from. So there's two primary conditions that really serve as the impetus for creating these products, and I call them the convergence of problems and opportunities, and we'll talk about them as we go along. So fair trade, let's talk about that first. The definition, as we all, I think, in this room are probably familiar with, is paying an equitable price for goods. They're sustainably produced goods. They're usually produced by workers who have been marginalized in their countries. They've usually been exploited by wealthy landowners, or conditions in which they really weren't able to profit from the ingredients that they were, or the product that they were part of producing. The goal of fair trade, of course, is to end that kind of exploitation. And so for that reason, obviously, to buy a fair trade commodity like fair traded coffee or sugar or cocoa or bananas or tea is a far superior choice than to buy just a normal, Lipton's tea bag or whatever, which is a normal coffee which is not fair trade certified. You are guaranteeing that the people involved in the product that are actually producing the product in the country of origin are getting a better price for it. However, there's a couple limitations to fair trade. One is that the price can't rise too high above your non-fair trade prices. So, for instance, coffee, and being a marketer of coffee alternatives, I pay a lot of attention to the coffee world. And here you can see that the green coffee beans at origin are, $1.35 a pound for conventional. That's about 20 cents more than they are for normal conventional, and $1.55 a pound for organic. However, according to researcher Christopher Bacon of the University of California, that price has to be at least $2 or above for a subsistence farmer to be able to, for a farmer to be able to rise above subsistence standards of living. So here we are drinking our fair trade coffee and think we're doing something really good, and we are. We're doing something better, but it's not enough to actually lift those people out of poverty. The other limitation on fair trade is, of course, a very small percentage of the global market for instance, coffee beans is fair trade. So you see there, $1.75 billion in fair trade global sales. It sounds like so much. It's so fabulous. But it's only a small amount compared to the $70 billion that's spent on the global coffee industry altogether, and especially with, Nestle and Kraft in there doing the great majority of coffee sales. Starbucks, admirably, 10.4% of their coffee purchase is now fair trade certified, and they have a goal to raise that every year. I was a little disappointed to see only 3% is organic certified, because I think that organic, of course, is a huge part of our equation for solving global warming. But at any rate, at least they have that. Fair trade advantages, of course, for the producers, it turns, excuse me, you know what? That's supposed to say new trade advantages. Sorry about this. A little mistake on here. I'm going to talk about creating new trade now. I'm leaving behind fair trade because we all know what its limitations are. And now I'm going to talk about new trade and how new trade is actually going into helping to create more streams of income for the people in disadvantaged countries. So for the producers, it turns these unknown or undervalued products in developing countries into sustainable income. And it generates new and additional sources of income for those people. It creates economic opportunities, especially for women and children. And as I speak about this today, we'll talk a lot about women and children and how economically disadvantaged they are. And it stimulates the local economy. The two slides you see here are from two different harvests I've been involved with. The one with all the people in the bags are weighing allspice leaves. We'll talk about them a little further on. And you can see the entire community is involved in this harvest of the leaves. And then one on the right is one I'm particularly proud of that we'll talk about also when I talk about Ramon nuts. And that's a bakery in Guatemala that started baking breads with Ramon nuts. Both generating income, obviously, in the countries of origin. God, somehow all my titles got changed in the last thing. That's new trade again, new trade advantages, not fair trade advantages. For the camcorders and marketers. It creates a unique marketing stories for customers and the media. So up here, two products that I'm showing here right now, Tulsi Tea and the back of my package for Ticino, are showing both how, as a marketing company, you can really focus on the story that you're trying to tell about what you're doing. So in the case of Organic India, with their Tulsi Tea, you see the pictures of the people from India that are actually involved in the harvest of the Tulsi Tea in India, and the reason why the company started.